Next on the news, a church in Queens connecting the faithful to the Diocese of Brooklyn and the Universal Church.
The Lenten pilgrims taking part in the journey at Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in Bayside became Pilgrims of Hope on Wednesday. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have that story coming up.
A life-saving lesson in the Eternal City as tourists, Jubilee pilgrims, and even nuns got a crash course in CPR. Plus, the body of Christ will get a boost from Catholics Down Under, a preview of the next International Eucharistic Congress happening in Sydney. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The Diocese of Brooklyn has been going on a journey, traveling to churches across 2 boroughs in the days leading up to the death and resurrection of Christ. On Wednesday, the Lenten pilgrims became Pilgrims of Hope, stopping at a church that has ties to the 2025 Jubilee and the church's soon-to-be first millennial saint. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has that story from Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in Bayside.
We are now in week 6 of the Lenten pilgrimage as the faithful continue their journey to churches across the Diocese of Brooklyn. It's been a time to reflect on their own path to Christ as we approach Holy Week. Bishop Robert Brennan celebrated Mass with people packed into the pews at Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in Bayside. The Queen's Church is designated as a Jubilee Shrine Church, meaning that if pilgrims in attendance meet certain conditions, they can receive plenary indulgences and be free from the temporal punishment due to sin. The Mass included students from the Catholic Academy next door, who even offered a song for the bishop after communion. You alone are holy. Some say it was a moment of joy to be in the presence of the Brooklyn Shepherd.
It was really nice seeing him because I really have not seen the bishop a lot. I only saw him twice, so it was good. I loved it.
I thought it was really nice. I especially enjoyed the part where he talked about how God is always trying to enter our hearts, because I feel like sometimes people always forget that no matter what's happening in their life, God is always with them.
Be close to Jesus.
This stop is also special because the church houses a relic of Blessed Carlo Acutis, 7 strands of the young tech whiz's hair, and will soon become a diocesan shrine church for the soon-to-be first millennial saint. Bishop Brennan told the faithful that the Italian teen is a role model for Catholics of all ages.
Blessed Carlo, now soon to be Saint Carlo, is not only an inspiration to the young people, but reminds us of how much we have to learn from the young people as we experienced here at Sacred Heart today.
Blessed Carlo will be canonized later this month, and the shrine here will be blessed by Bishop Brennan later this year. If you didn't make it to Sacred Heart of Jesus Church on Wednesday and would like to receive plenary indulgence for the Jubilee, you have until December 8th, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, to visit a shrine church. In Bayside, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
As Katie mentioned, Bishop Robert Brennan has been leading the Lenten pilgrims through a majority of the stops. On Tuesday, he acknowledged those who have been joining him on the journey.
I always thank the pilgrims for making their way and for their perseverance. And I thank you for your goodness, for receiving all of the pilgrims who come. My hope is that this is a day of blessing, of grace, and renewal.
That stop at St. Francis Paola Church in Williamsburg was in fact a day of blessing, grace, and renewal as pilgrims celebrated Mass with the bishop and then took part in a list of activities including adoration, prayer, and confession. It's not too late to join the Lenten pilgrimage. Just download the Lenten pilgrimage app from the App Store or Google Play. You can also get more information by visiting lent.dioceseofbrooklyn.org. Meantime, at the latest Jubilee celebration in Rome, pilgrims from around the world learned how to save lives. During an event for the Jubilee of the sick and healthcare workers, the American Heart Association guided tourist pilgrims and even religious sisters through CPR basics, using the beat of the Bee Gees' "Stayin' Alive" to keep time on the chest compressions. Instructors say the lesson showed that saving a life only takes minutes to learn, and it's not just for healthcare professionals. There are plenty more events to look forward to during the Jubilee year. April 25th will be the Jubilee of Teenagers, when the Catholic Church is set to canonize the first millennial saint, Blessed Carlo Acutis. And on July 28th, there will be a separate Jubilee for young people. 87 young parishioners from the Diocese of Brooklyn are planning to attend. October 5th honors migrants, and in December, it's a Jubilee of prisoners. And if you want to learn more about Blessed Carlo Acutis, we'll be airing a special program telling you everything you need to know, from the miracles that took him from a normal teen to a soon-to-be saint, to his influence in the Diocese of Brooklyn, and how one of his greatest works can still be found almost 20 years after his death. Just be sure to tune in this Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. on Net TV. For continuing coverage of the Jubilee and the Diocese's Lenten pilgrimage, be sure to stick with Currents News and the Tablet. This week's paper features the latest on both journeys, including the Lenten pilgrimage stop at St. Rose of Lima in Kensington, where Bishop Robert Brennan celebrated Mass in honor of persecuted Christians worldwide, as well as Pope Francis's surprise appearance to Jubilee pilgrims in St. Peter's Square, his first public appearance since being released from the hospital. And despite facing deep cuts in funding, the Tablet shows how Catholic Relief Services will continue to uphold its commitment to serving millions in over 120 countries, including vocational training and job placement in El Salvador and providing health care for new mothers in Ghana. So be sure to pick up the paper at your local church. You can also support the Tablet and Catholic journalism by becoming a member. You could do so by going online to thetablet.org/become-a-member. In the latest news about the Holy Father's health, Pope Francis is continuing to improve while he rests and recovers at Casa Santa Marta. The Holy See press office says the Holy Father remains stable and continues to show respiratory, motor, and voice-related improvements. He is continuing his therapies and oxygen, and officials note he is in good spirits and working. Still, there was no general audience this Wednesday, and the press officials say it's still too early to discuss the Pope's participation during Holy Week liturgies. The Pope will hopefully be part of one of the next global church events, the International Eucharistic Congress, happening in Sydney, Australia in 2028. Currents News' Jessica Easthope gives us a preview of the event.
Preparations are already underway down under. Australia will host the next International Eucharistic Congress in 2028 in its capital city of Sydney. Archbishop of Sydney Anthony Fisher has been holding meetings with the Vatican to iron out the details of the event.
You have a great opportunity to evangelise and catechise and excite people about the faith, then the celebration itself, and then the years afterwards of reaping the fruits of that.
Archbishop Fisher says one of the greatest challenges for Catholics today is valuing the Eucharist.
After the period of COVID, after a long period of secularisation in Western countries like my own, there are a lot of Catholics who are not very connected with Eucharist, or as connected as they should be. I would hope to rejuvenate people's love for the Eucharist, for the celebration of the Eucharist, for praying with the Eucharist, for the Eucharistic community that is each parish and group.
The arrival of Catholics from the Philippines, Lebanon, and Vietnam to the Archdiocese of Sydney has brought a new vitality and even some never-before-seen traditions to Australia.
Our Corpus Christi procession is growing and growing and growing every year to such a scale that it now is a very major operation, and we'll have to close many streets to make it happen. We also have processions for Our Lady, a procession for St. Joseph. The processions are growing and growing in Sydney.
It's a popular piety that paves the way for the next International Eucharistic Congress. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Finally tonight, kids across the Diocese of Brooklyn took part in a competition of the sharpest minds. And now we're figuring out the top mathletes of Brooklyn and Queens. 6th to 8th grade students took the stage at St. Helen Catholic Academy in Howard Beach for the Diocese's Upper Class Math Bee. Family and teachers cheered them on as kids answered complex math equations all in their heads. No pencil or paper allowed. The winner was a 7th grader from Our Lady Queen of Martyrs Catholic Academy. Congrats to him, and what smart kids. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.